Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today we have Gurkirat Singh Gilji. You would have seen him on NDTV and on his YouTube channel and on Instagram Live with Bharat Army. I saw him. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abhay. Good to be here and talk sports with you. Always looking forward to it.
Sir, as we all know, you're so famous on Twitter, and we learn so much from your tweets and the discussions that we have. So, sir, first of all, sir, I'll ask you about the Olympics. I think this was the most successful Olympic ever for India, winning 7 medals, one gold medal, that too in track and field, which we have never won. Kudos to Neeraj Chopra for that. Sir, what's your take on our journey, overall journey in the Olympics?
No, it's been pretty great. Sports always, in a way, uplifts the mood of the people who are following it, and in this case, it has uplifted the mood of the people of the country. So it's always a good thing. Having said that, in terms of the best performances, the stats are there for everyone to see. But for me, the highlight was, and the best part was, hockey team winning a medal once again after 41 years. It's a sport that's been synonymous with India at the Olympics. So it was high time that the team wins something because somewhere, even though cricket has become the primary sport of the country, people still you know crave for the glory days of hockey. And to see that and see how the men's team won a bronze medal, the women's team coming very close to it, was a very heartening experience and a very emotional one as well. As far as Neeraj Chopra is concerned, I know a lot of people were saying that because he's coming off from injury, he may not be a gold medal prospect, but he might win a bronze or a silver. But for him to win the gold there, where in an event or in a field where we've never won a medal, is just incredible. And I tweeted that day that Milkha Singh would be very happy considering how
Yes.
he came so close to that medal in 1960, then PT Usha just missing out in 1964. So a lot of firsts have happened, and it's great. And the entire credit should go to the athletes and their coaches and their families who worked so hard with them. I don't think anyone else can take a lot of credit of their hard work because uh, had it had, we could have taken that credit if we had known about these athletes before, but we really didn't know
Absolutely.
much about them before the Olympics.
Sir, as you just said that the most heartening thing was to our hockey teams win. As there is a saying, cricket is always in our minds, but hockey will always stay in our hearts. So yes, it was very heartening to see it, and the way women's hockey team actually performed, it was just a recap of Chak De India. I know we missed the medal, but the way we fought in the semi-finals and the way the team played, I think they deserve a lot of credit. And what happened with Vandana, it wasn't nice. I think people should learn to respect our national heroes who've done so well for the country. And sir, what's your take on hockey? Because
See, I
as Indians, we need to address
I
that.
don't
I
think
think
I don't think that you need to respect someone or someone's identity just because they are a national hero. Uh, Both of us who are talking here, we are not national heroes in any way, but we also wouldn't like someone to make a casteist remark or a communal remark or a religious remark on us. Why? We haven't done anything wrong.
no
So,
one wants to take it, sir,
yeah,
and no
exactly.
one deserves it.
Exactly. You've put it very rightly. So I don't think you just you want someone to be a national hero, or you only should back someone who's a national hero, or to say that comments against their family, whether they be caste slurs or religious remarks or communal remarks, are wrong. They are wrong anyway, regardless of who you do it against. So that is one thing we need to establish as a society, that okay, this is wrong. We cannot be doing this. That is number one. And when it happens against someone who's created history for India in the Olympics, where she scored the very first hat trick, it becomes all the more saddening and all the more disappointing that even if we can't respect such people, who do we can really respect? We that it's an eye opener for us as a society, that we need to make sure that we just give the minimum amount of respect and dignity to each and every individual. We should celebrate the feats of the people who who have done great things in the sport, take. No one should be subjected to any casteist remark or a religious remark or a communal remark. That is not just done. That is not a civilized society, I feel.
Yeah. Sir, I know people will talk about all the seven medalists, Lavina, Meera Bachchan, Bajrang Punia, Neeraj Chopra, our hockey team, and Ravi Dahiya. But But sir, what I think is if we don't talk about people who performed really well and missed the medal, like our hockey team, it is our responsibility to respect them as well. Let's talk about sir Aditi Ashok, who did so well in golf, just missed by one hole. I was not too versed with golf to be very honest, but I tried a lot to understand it just for her game, and I think she was someone who was ranked 200 and then to compete with top level athletes and to finish at number four. It was a great achievement. Someone like Deepak Punia, who almost had that medal, lost it in the 10 seconds. So, sir, what do you think? What better can be done to promote these athletes and to respect them as well? I know Haryana government has announced rewards for Neeraj Chopra, Ravi Kumar Dahiya, and even they'll announce for me. But don't you think some rewards and some acclamations should be given to other athletes as well who've done well for the country, who actually were almost there but couldn't deliver? What do you think ministries and the government should do for
I think I think it's not about recognizing only the ones who just missed out or have reached the podium. There are others as well who've performed
yes,
well. Like Manika Batra also went till the third round, which was the first. Achanta Sharat Kamal also went for the Ritwik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy, and Chirag Shetty
Satish,
also did well.
sir, Satish as well.
If you talk about archers, even they so it's just should be about ensuring that whoever is competing for the country at whatever they are backed enough because ultimately back them you empower them to become better athletes. So you're very right about
Sir, my first question to you regarding that is, sir, who were, I'll not say disappointment, but who were the ones who you think could have done it, could have got a gold or a silver for the country? Who were the prospects you felt? Because people were talking about a Bajrang Punia or a Vinesh Fogart, that they'll be ones who will get India the gold. Who do you think? I'm not disrespecting anyone or saying that they missed out on that, but they were actually the prospects that we were considering. People were saying Neeraj Chopra will win silver or bronze. People were not even thinking of gold because of better. What do you think? Who disappointed you a little bit?
you could be slightly disappointed with someone like Saurabh Chaudhary because he had qualified as number one ranked going into the final event and then he couldn't deliver. It happens. Then you could be slightly disappointed from the likes of
Manu Bhaker,
the
maybe.
Manu Bhaker and her partner was there in the shooting event. Shooting you and archery, you have to be slightly disappointed, but apart from that, not much you can say. Maybe Vinesh Fogart, but these disappointments do happen somewhere or the other. You have to take it in your stride. There are also going to be some athletes or like Aditi Ashok, she overperformed. So it's a part and parcel of the game. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. You have to, and most importantly, you shouldn't be judging athletes just on the basis of one performance in the Olympics. They've done World Championships, there are Asian Games, Commonwealth Games. So it's not that if you fail at the Olympics, you failed as an athlete. There are a lot of competitions where you have to do well, and you've only reached that stage of Olympics because you've been so good before. So we shouldn't be judging, and we shouldn't be saying okay that someone who hasn't won it doesn't deserve the backing or the infrastructure that should come from the government. Only when you give that more push, you could see more results.
So, sir, where will you rate this Olympic performance of India? Right at the top, or maybe you expected better?
No, I think I had expected around 5 or 6 or 7. medals, so I'd say that it's definitely one of India's best. So I've been watching Olympics since 2004. I remember when India had just won one medal in 2004, then three in 2008, six in 2012, and then it was disappointing again in Rio in 2016. So from that aspect, obviously from the last six Olympics that I've seen, this remains the best, and that is the only games that I can compare it to. Really can't
Okay.
say much
So
about it.
now let's talk about the test match. It ended up as a draw. Match was ended tomorrow without a ball being. But sir, who actually impressed you? Sir, if we talk about our openers, I'll start with our batting first because I know people would say that maybe Rohit Sharma hasn't opened in England, just played one knock in World Test Championship. How would he perform? What do you think? Do you think he managed the new ball very well? Gifted his wicket. We all know he has had a little tendency of gifting his wickets since Australia tour. It is quite visible that when it comes to test cricket, he gets a little impatient. But how would you rate a KL Rahul and a Rohit Sharma, the way they opened, the way they provided India that stability?
Oh, I was not in favor of KL playing in the 11. I would have liked Pujara to open and then Vihari to come in the middle order. But I'd have to say he's impressed me a lot. It's been one of his very good performances. The way he was driving, it was sublime. Make no mistake about it. He was very good while driving, and he is very good while leaving the ball. So all credit goes to him. As far as Rohit's concerned, I think he's doing his primary job of negotiating the new ball, but he needs to carry on for his and the team's sake to make sure that he's making his starts now, because he's doing the difficult job of batting through the initial period, batting 50-60 balls. In the first innings, he batted 100 balls and then lost his wicket. So he's doing all the hard work. He now just needs to make sure that he carries on and makes those big runs, because as of now, his average of 30-35 is not, justifying his performance.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the man that's behind the king himself. So I am his huge fan, and I know even in his bad patch, he is in top 10 run makers in the past 2 years in ODI and T20 cricket. But when you look at his Test cricket stats, they aren't really satisfying, to be very honest. What do you think? What is going wrong for Virat? I know in T20, 2020 he just played 3 to 4 test matches. One was in 3 test matches. One was in Australia and two were in New Zealand where he failed. Uh, but if you look at it, it wasn't great. England couldn't get much runs, 2 knocks only of 70 runs, and that too in fourth innings. And then he failed to convert in this very first innings and in the World Test Championship as well, only 44 runs. So, sir, what's your take? What do you think? When will he start lagging behind, or what do you think is going wrong with Virat at the moment?
I think he's batting well. It's just that he's if you look at the World Test Championship match, the first innings, he got out on the first fall shot that he played. He's also coming up
Yeah,
against some very good attacks who were relentless. Like his run out in Adelaide was unfortunate. Then the way he got out in Chennai in second innings, the ball stayed low. Then he was
yeah.
given a slightly 50-50 decision against Moeen Ali. So it's not that he's not batting well; he's batting well. I just think that it's just a matter of time. When he gets back amongst big runs where
Big
he's
run.
scoring those hundreds. I don't think there's much wrong in his batting technique, to be very honest. I just think it's slightly blown out of proportion, and hopefully
Sir,
he
it's so
gets back amongst those big runs once again.
Sir, it's so good to hear the same thing that I was thinking from such an experienced person. So because I knew some people were saying he's finished, this and that, blah blah, whatever they were saying.
No,
But I believe his
people said
front foot, and I think the way his
people said
front foot is
even
moving, sir.
people said even Bumrah finished after the World Test Championship, and he was India's
Yeah,
best
yeah,
bowler in the Test format included. So
yeah.
I
But but sir, if you
don't
look
read
at the
too much
front foot
into it.
and the way he's striking the ball, I think he is there. It's just about that one big knock, and he'll be back. The, the person that is actually a concern for India, I think, is because he's been caught half up many times. His front foot is nowhere, his back foot is nowhere. That's what we've been seeing in 2 to 4 innings continuously. My concern at the moment is Chiteshwar Pujara. What do you think of Pujara, sir? Then we'll move on to our fast bowling and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really say that there's an issue with his technique. I'd just say that maybe he needs to find a couple of release shots to make sure that he's not uh, getting into a shell. Because I think he's playing the way he can do it the best. It's just that he's reduced risk so much that when he gets out, it takes a very good delivery to get him out. He just needs to, open up a little bit, maybe look for a few more scoring opportunities so that his stay at the crease is reflecting on the scoreboard in terms of runs, not just in terms of balls.
Sir, now let's talk about the all-rounder, and then we'll move on to fast bowlers and obviously Joe Root's talk now. Sir, what do you think of Ravindra Jadeja's now? He is averaging more than Virat Kohli in the past 3 years. From 2018, there was a stat shown by Sony that he's averaging the most since 2018 for India. What's your take on Ravindra Jadeja, the batsman for India? And would you go with
I
Jadeja
think
or
it's
Ashwin? Would you
I think
continue to
it's
drop Ashwin or maybe get Ashwin for Shardul?
I think it's time that we stop calling Ravindra Jadeja just as a spinner. He's a proper batting all rounder, and he should be playing in India's Test side whenever he's available and fit to play. That is very simple. As far as Ashwin is concerned, I think he's a proper number 8 batsman. Uh, there's not if I have to pick between Ashwin and Shardul Thakur, I'll pick Ashwin most of the times, unless the wicket is so green that I feel that okay, there are not going to be there's not much need to have two spinning options. But more or less, I don't think it's a debate.
So now the last question on our fast bowlers and Joe Root's performance. Your take and your prediction then.
We missed Ishan Sharma for sure in the on the fourth day, and apart from that, I thought Shardul was probably not completely fit, which is why he didn't bowl as much. So I hope to see Ishan Sharma back in the next Test match and a brilliant innings by Joe. There's not much that I think Indian bowlers could have done, except for maybe being slightly more disciplined and not give that odd boundary ball here and there.
So thank you.
Because
So now,
Siraj was bowling a good line to him, but he would give the odd loose ball here and there, which could have been completely avoided.
so now, so your prediction for the series and
I hope India wins 2-1. I
so
hope India wins the series 2-1. Yeah.
thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful to have you. Thank you for giving us the time.